I bought an untested OG Xbox 360 from Goodwill for about $20, and in this video, we're going to take an in-depth look at it and see if it even works. Alright, let's go ahead and open this box up, see what's inside. What in the world? I mean, I guess props and recycling, but that's a very interesting packing job. So I got this thing out of the box. Let's go ahead and take a closer look at it. And man, it doesn't look too bad for how old this thing is. You know, you got some scuffs on the top and the bottom, but nothing too crazy. And here in the front, we have this faceplate. Let me just go ahead and tear this off and see if it's been opened before. And it looks like the warranty seal is maybe intact. I don't know. It looks like it's got a little bit of damage, but I'm not sure it's been taken apart. Flipping over the back here, let's see when this thing was manufactured. This is from April 2006. So this thing is not quite a launch console, but came out about 6 months after launch. As you can see, it is AV only, so no HDMI. So it's a Xenon motherboard, which is basically the original motherboard of the 360 that's prone to red ring of death. So yeah, we have to deal with that. And then, I mean, on the sides, the grills are all good, which is a bit surprising. Usually these things are cracked up and stuff, but let's go ahead and plug this thing in and see if it works. All right, I got this console plugged in. Let's go ahead and turn it on, and well, hopefully it turns on. Ooh, the disk drive made a very weird noise, but hey, the power is on. Nice. All right, well, let's check the code. All right, so I got the code on this bad boy, and just by the way, if you don't know how to do it, you hold down the sync button, press the eject button. All right, so that's 0, 1, 0, 2. Which, as far as I can remember, is one of the very common ones. Basically, there's an issue with the CPU, GPU, or RAM, and basically this thing is dead unless you reflow it, reball it, whatever. So, I mean, I guess we can try to turn it on one more time, see if we get lucky. We could try the towel trick. I'm not going to try that today, but we could try it. And yeah, red rings again. Nice. All right, so we're going to open this thing up and see what the inside looks like. I bet there might be a bolt mod on here, but let's check. All right, let's go ahead and open this bad boy up and see what the inside looks like. I did take a closer look at the back, and I do think it's been opened before. We've got some wear and tear around the holes here. Of course, somebody could have tried to open it and then not opened it, but I think the likely answer is that somebody has opened this before and put a bolt mod or something, or I don't know, tried to reflow it. We'll find out. All right, I got this piece off, and I will say this console is very clean for being a console from Goodwill. Like, I don't know, it's cleaner than consoles that I buy from places that are supposedly clean. And I just noticed we actually have a black screw here, and that's usually a silver screw. So somebody replaced a screw at some point. Just a interesting tidbit. So again, more evidence that somebody has been in here. Weird. But I mean, at first glance, it looks like the X clamps are still in place because we have those screws intact. So we probably don't have a bolt mod here, but I don't know, something going on here. We're almost there. Let's go ahead and flip this bad boy over. And I'm gonna take this eject piece off, and let's open it up. See what's going on down here. I mean, it's a bit dirty in here. Nothing too crazy though. And that piece falls straight off. Everything in here looks pretty normal, and oof, that's funny. This is definitely an oof console. Everything looks pretty normal in here. I don't see any bulging capacitors. It's a bit dusty, but you know, that's not going to cause a red ring of death on its own. And it's actually a slightly newer model 360 because it's got this extra heatsink pipe over to the extra little addition there. Just something to point out. All right, finally got all the screws off the bottom of this motherboard. Let's go ahead and flip it over and see what it looks like. And yeah, pretty normal. I mean, let me just look at this and see. Do we see any board warping? I don't really see the board warping at all. Usually that happens when you put a bolt mod, and obviously there's no bolt mod because you can see the X clamps right here. Yeah, I'm curious what somebody did here because they clearly opened it up. There was some signs of tampering. Maybe they replaced the thermal paste. Let's find out. All right, I got this first X clamp off, and the little black piece fell off the X clamp. Nice. Flip it over, and 3, 2, 1. Nope, yeah, that's original thermal paste. Yep, got a chip that's pretty much bald. Awesome. This stuff is like glued on as well. Like, whew, do not like that stuff. Let's go ahead and take off the other one too. All right, got the second X clamp off. Flip her over, and man, oh man, that is on there tight. That is like completely bald. Wow, man, that's just terrible. Like, it's completely bald. There's like a little bit here on the heatsink, but barely anything. That's why these things overheat so easily. But it's just always amazing when I take the heat sinks off of these things and look at the thermal paste and just see it, you know, being non-existent. You know, my apologies. I wish we were able to get something better than a red ring of death console, but you know, it happens sometimes. So thanks for watching, guys. Hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you next time.
Aha! I thought this video was over, did ya? So I thought we could try something fun here. Jacob's on vacation, so he couldn't come here to film the rest of this video, but I had an idea. Instead of ending this in like a 4 or 5 minute video that, you know, it's just a failure, isn't really like that exciting of a video, it's just a red ring 360, I thought it might be fun to try our hand at a reflow. Now, this is not something I have ever done before. And in fact, it's something that I think most quote-unquote experts in the field of repairing 360s would tell you is actually not a very good idea, because even if you were to succeed in your efforts to reflow a 360, it's probably just not going to last. And that really has to do with the way that these chips here are designed and the way that the solder balls all sit under there. All right, I think I got it zoomed up in enough now so you can see. So this right here is our GPU. And by the way, I looked it up. This is specifically a GPU issue. Sometimes the RAM is also involved, but more often than not, this is a GPU problem. It is a very common, classic, like cracked solder joints GPU problem for the 360, resulting in the three ring red ring of death. Now look, before I even continue on this explanation, I've never even done a reflow, so I'm going to be learning, probably making a mistake, and if I fail, y'all get to laugh at me, so it's still going to be a fun video. I hope you stay tuned. The way that a GPU here is, the GPU is set up, right? This is the aspect of this that I think most people get confused about. This isn't just one cohesive unit that's just kind of like packaged this way, and it's just like sitting on a bunch of solder joints underneath. If you even knew that, most people don't even know that, you know, underneath this are a bunch of little tiny, basically like pebble looking things that are solder balls that melt and adhere the chip to the board. But really in between, underneath this metal part here, so this is a lot of thermal paste as you see, but under that is this metal piece here. Underneath that is basically an even fancier and higher temperature solder ball kind of thing. I think it might be made of lead. I don't know. That's true on the PS3s. I'm not sure exactly what the 360s have going on under there, but that is usually, in most cases, from what I understand, the actual core of the issue. And unfortunately, you're not going to fix it with a reflow. The reason is that you would need to get the temperature of the chip so high that you're going to damage the chip. The chips, when they're put in here, are really only meant to go through that much heat one time to adhere the chip to this board, right? You might be asking, okay, why even try this? Really, I just want to see if I can get this system to post. And you might also be asking, if this is all true, why are reflows successful for people? The truth is that they're not. They're a temporary band-aid fix on the core of the issue, which is a faulty design of the GPU. But either way, regardless of if this fixes the red ring of death here, I'm curious. I want to see if we can get this to post, see if we can get to the dashboard, see what it's been left on. We can get an idea of maybe how much playtime this 360 got. I mean, if it's still chilling on the Blaze dashboard, you know this has been red ring for a long time, but who knows, maybe this has somehow made it through a decade plus of use, and it just recently red ringed, and that's why it showed up on Goodwill. It's impossible to know until we see if we can get it displaying at all. So let's get started. So the very first thing I'm going to do here, before I start any heat or anything like that, I'm just going to clean all the thermal paste, and then I'm going to go in with some 99% isopropyl alcohol and just kind of get this thing super clean. I'm going to go in with Q-tips and get it as clean as possible. Basically, when you go for the reflow, you're opening up dust to get all up in the solder, and that is just not good. It's not going to connect. It's not going to make a firm connection where things can transfer properly. So you're just begging for more trouble at that point, and it's likely the reflow won't work at all. And if it does, it's even more temporary. When I say temporary, by the way, I'm talking like you might reflow and it works, but then 6 months down the line it fails. But if you don't clean it properly, it might fail in like a week instead. So yeah, I'm just going to get started cleaning this thermal paste, cleaning all the dirt around here, and then we'll get started preheating the board. All right, I got a majority of the thermal paste off of the chip now. I'm just going to go in with a fresh, brand new microfiber cloth and a bunch more isopropyl alcohol and just clean the surrounding area here. All right, it should be looking a lot better now. I basically just went in with 1,001 of these little Q-tips and cleaned it until it looked like it couldn't be cleaned anymore. And then I kind of just dumped a bunch of isopropyl on this microfiber cloth, this new microfiber cloth, and just really made sure that I got as much dust and hair and whatever else I saw out of the surrounding area, just so we don't run into any issues. All right, the next thing I'm going to do is take this fancy tape here and just kind of block off some of the capacitors here and some other areas that I don't really want getting too hot when I start working on with the reflow station over here. All right, I just have some of the capacitors over here close to the area I'm going to be working on covered up. This should just kind of protect it. It's probably not totally necessary since I'm not doing like a full reflow of every single chip here. I'm just focusing on the GPU. But either way, I just wanted to be safe, and I don't know. If I'm doing something wrong, don't blame me. It's the first time. I am not an expert. I have no idea what I'm doing. I am relying entirely off of the internet, and you guys know how risky that is. So If I'm doing something wrong, be sure to roast me in the comments. I'm a big boy, I can take it. So what I'm going to do now is just put this case right here on the table like this, and then flip the motherboard upside down. So we're going to start on the back side and just sort of rest it on top of here because I know it can kind of dissipate the heat a little bit and protect the table from the heat gun here. I guess I should also remove these thermal pads. Don't want these catching on fire. And then just to be super safe, I'm just going to get this kind of area here cleaned up as well. Well, it didn't really matter. I just went over with this Q-tip over here covered in isopropyl alcohol and wiped around here and found literally no dust at all, so I guess it should be fine. Alrighty, I'm a bit nervous, but I think it's time to get started. I got the reworking station going strong over there. I'm about to turn the heat gun portion here on, and I don't know, I'm probably going to do like 190, 200-ish degrees. I'm going to get it up to there, kind of circling around this whole general area, but from kind of a height like this, just trying to warm up the board. I don't know, might do this for, I'll get a timer going and do this for maybe a minute and a half, 2 minutes. Then flip over the board, do the same thing to the other side basically, you know, keep a distance, just sort of warm the whole thing up. And then once it seems sufficiently warm, I'm going to probably crank it to like 380, 360, somewhere between there, and get a little closer and just move around like this. Yeah, I think I'll just circle around at that like 380 degree mark. For about a minute and a half, something like that, maybe 2, if it seems like it's not doing too much. Because basically the idea here is you're not really melting the important solder, you're just kind of getting things heated up enough to like maybe make some connections solid again. So that's going to be what I'm going for here. But all right, let's get started. Trying to just move in circles, not staying in one area for too long. I'm just going to give it a touch every once in a while, make sure it's getting kind of warm. I'm also, when I flip the board back over, I guess I could have done it earlier, but it makes more sense to wait till now. I'm also going to throw some flux around the GPU just to help things get moving along once we get heat going on the other side. All right, I actually bumped the heat up to 150. It just doesn't seem like it's getting the board warm enough, so we'll see if cranking that a little bit helps it. I guess I should slow down a little bit. It's not helping, I'm moving so fast. All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump up to 200. I'm looking for it to be, I don't know, I'm just kind of thinking on my feet here, but I'm looking for it to be somewhat hot to the touch, but, you know, not too hot where I can't flip the board back over. Yeah, that's getting quite warm. I'm going to go ahead and flip it over. And at this point, I'm going to do the same exact thing. I'm sitting at like 220 right now, hovering maybe like 3 inches, as you can see on the face cam there above the board. I guess, yeah, that's about like 3 inches. The board on the other side is warm enough, I imagine, so at this point, I'm really just laser focused on the GPU. I'm going to keep at this another 30 seconds or so, and then I'm going to crank way up to, I guess I'll just do increments of like 50. I'll just do that for maybe 30 seconds at a time. We're experimenting here. It'll be fine, right? And I see the flux is now moving and doing things. That's good. I saw things going. I saw things moving about, so now I'm just, I have the device off. I'm just going to let it kind of point away from everything and cool down. All right, I think at this point, I'm going to clean up the flux. I'm going to replace the thermal paste on the CPU, obviously, and get it kind of reassembled back enough so we can turn it on and see if that did anything at all. All right, we are back. I have put the system together at least enough to, you know, turn it on and test it, see what happens next. I got my phone recording here so we can see what the light situation is like. All right, here we go. 3, 2, 1. Interesting. Okay. Fan's going crazy, and we got the 2 blinking lights. So I think that's like an overheating thing. So let me do the code thing with the eject button. Got to hold the buttons or whatever and see if I can get a code going. All right, so I got bad news. So the flashing red lights, I put in the code thing by holding the eject button. Holding the sync button and then pressing the eject button. I'm getting it to display the blinking red lights. I got 0012 out of that, which means that the GPU is overheating, which shouldn't be possible because I just put the thermal paste and we just did the reflow. So what that tells me, most likely, is that there's some kind of connection that is now broken because of the because of the reflow. So this is probably a good example of why reflowing, not always the smartest idea. What I might do next is try again. I can just open it up and try again, but this video has gone on long enough, and I think shows a bit of a warning sign about why reflowing isn't always the answer. Now, there could be any number of issues here that could have caused this. Obviously, it was displaying a different error code before, so I definitely didn't make the situation better. I think it's just kind of the same, right? Like, before it was more of like there was some kind of interrupted connection. From what I was reading about the different errors, right? The first error was more about like there was some joint that's broken, right? Cracked, broken, not making a proper connection, right, in the GPU. This is more now like it's just overheating, which is more weird. So I'm going to do some more research and see real quick if there's some info about a overheating error after a reflow and what that might tell us. But I have a feeling this might be a kablooey on this 360. But hey, no harm, no foul, right? I mean, it was already dead anyway. All right, so I looked it up. So this is the thing about these reflows and the rabbit hole you can get down if you go into the idea thinking that like reflowing could fix your console. I'm gonna call it quits at this point because there are some other situations where this could occur, this error code and overheating, where like it's not all doom and gloom. So the fact that the console is turning on, you might be able to hear the fan even ramp up that quickly, and it's not like happening like where like the console's turning on and then overheating. That would indicate that there's something wrong with like heat dissipation, right? I actually have a PS3 that we're trying to fix at the moment that has an issue like that, where everything seems to work just fine. The console will boot up, it'll show the XMP, but if it plays for more than like 5 minutes, the console overheats, meaning that there's some kind of issue with like the thermal paste under the IHS. For this machine, though, the fact that it's not even posting and it's just instantly saying it's overheating indicates that there's probably an issue with the HENA chip and the connection to there, where this could be fixed theoretically by the same method I did, basically just by reflowing that chip or replacing that chip. In all likelihood, I probably just bumped something else, I damaged something else somehow, or hurt a trace, or there's some other issue that got kind of reconfigured by reflowing that GPU. And I think that I could sit here reflowing this all day, but it sort of serves as an example of why these fat 360s, these old fat 360s, man, it's just like you can sit here reflowing, you could reball them, which means you take the whole GPU out, you get all the solder balls out of there, you put new solder balls in. It's very difficult, it's very annoying, and then you reflow it to melt those solder balls, like fresh solder balls, like right onto the GPU socket. Could that solve the problem? Potentially. Does that solve the underlying issue, though, of the GPU, which is that it has a flawed design and will probably fail anyway? Probably not. It's why literally all of these original like Xenon era 360s, I don't actually remember which specific one. I think it might be a Xenon. It's a no HDMI, and it's like one of the OG. It's a very old 360 either way, very prone to red ring. Actually, I don't think it's a Xenon because it's got the better heatsink on here. But whatever. It's one of the two early ones. I'm sure you guys know better than I. I'm not really a 360 guy. But either way, clearly this is a classic example of just a normal red ring 360. If you have any advice for like simple fixes that maybe I'm not considering, you can leave them in the comments. It doesn't really matter. At the end of the day, I think this is like a $20, $30 Xbox, right? It doesn't work. That's a shame. It would have been nice to get it working. Either way, we weren't like going to resell it because it's like you get this thing reflowed, you get it working. Let's say hypothetically, I get it working, it has Blaze dashboard, it's wonderful, it's working, it's great. What's the guarantee that it's gonna work in 6 months? Would we really wanna sell that to somebody? We certainly wouldn't sell for full price because even a refurbished FAT360 is just a ticking time bomb. That is the problem with these consoles. They have fundamental hardware flaws that just make them really difficult to ever guarantee that they're gonna work. And as time goes on, that just gets more and more likely. So I think this should show that even if I don't know what I'm doing, obviously. This is my first reflow attempt. It unfortunately didn't go so well. I was kind of hoping it would. But yay, I gave it a 20% chance. Apparently my luck is not that great today, but I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I had fun kind of trying to mess around with this 360, playing around with the station. Maybe there's things I can try in the future. Maybe off camera, I'll try again at some point if I have some extra time. I'll take the reflow station back out and maybe crank up the temp a little bit. Because hey, it's a dead 360. I'm not going to hurt it any more than it already is hurt, right? Maybe. I don't know. Maybe the 0012 is worse than the original Erica we were getting, and you guys will let me know and roast me even harder. That's okay. I like I said, I'm a big boy. I can take it, but no, either way, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thank you so much for watching Jacob R's channel, and support the Danny takeover. I will own this company, and Jacob will rue the day that he hired me. Goodbye.